Yo, what's going on? My name is China. I am the man them's voice. Welcome back to another live stream. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn notification bells if you haven't done so already. We're gonna get into this stream. So, guys, right now, there's currently the war in Iran, US and Israel, and it's probably one of the reasons why it probably affects us the most. When I say the most, is because of Dubai. We got a lot of people out in Dubai. So here's the thing. I have a lot of Iranian friends from North London. We have a lot of Iranian friends, and a lot of people been rejoicing. When I say rejoicing, in the sense of, you know, they're saying the West have gone in there to go and do certain things, but a lot of my Iranian friends have actually said that you know they were supporting it, and we shouldn't in the West we shouldn't be necessarily speaking out against it and virtue signaling because for a long time they've been asking for help. For a long time they've been asking for help, and no one helped them. And although Iran is obviously a majority Muslim state, and the issues with states and Israel and US, the fact that many Iranians are actually in support of this, it kind of people didn't really understand, and I didn't understand. So with my platform, I do have a lot of friends that are Iranian, and they've kind of broken it down to me. So what we're going to do now, and I think this is kind of good for all of us, because we should kind of be aware of what's going on. And you are aware with news and stuff. They're not always going to give you the come on, guys. News, what news does. So they're gonna just basically just hide the truth. So what it's always good when we can try to get content that's coming from obviously a mix of social media. Obviously we're going to look at some news clips as well, but that's what we're going to go and do. Yeah, I big up Thierry. I see you, bro. He said, "Yes, bro, I'm here." Yeah, misinformation. Yeah, misinformation. There you go. Fake news, as they call it. Fake news, misinformation. Fake news, as they call it. So that's what's going to be going. TikTok, we're streaming on YouTube. Hit the like button. We're streaming on YouTube. You get me? You know what I mean? Hit the like button. That's what they call fake news. So we're gonna be doing that. Shutter boy, I see you, man. Like China, I see you, bro. To get me, we're staying consistent. You get me? Everything consistent. You know what I mean? But this is what we're gonna be doing. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm not even streaming. I'm not even on Instagram. Let me. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get Instagram here, and then I'll get them. I'll get them from Instagram to come. I'll get them from Instagram to come in here. Give me a second, guys. Hit the like button. Uh, let's quickly get this inside Iran. Let's let's get the vibrations a bit higher tonight. Let's get the vibrations a bit higher tonight. Let's have a real, let's have a conversation. Let's can I get you guys to lock on to something a little bit different tonight? I'll be honest, whenever I tend to talk about these types of things, or when we do the good stuff, I don't you guys love drama. I know, innit? You don't believe in the Bible? Of course I do. I'm currently fasting for Lent. It's my 22nd day. So of course I believe in the Bible. 100%. 100%. 100% I believe in the Bible. 100%. Like what? Of course. Of course I believe in the Bible. But yeah. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So big up Ultimate. Is there more context as to why this war is happening? Will this affect people going to Dubai in the future? Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, let's get into it. Let's get into it, and then we'll get into those questions later on, because I think it's going to bring a lot of questions. But let's kind of just get into an introduction into actually what's going on. Let's make sure everybody kind of has a basic knowledge of what is going on, and then we can see how it's going to affect us, how it can affect our loved ones, people overseas, and whatever, how it's affecting your traveling as well, if you intended to travel to Dubai as well, stuff like that. So I think this is a good opportunity. Anyone that's on Instagram, you need to hop across to YouTube, and then you'll be able to see this. So it's a political religious war. Let's get into it, and then we'll do that. Yeah, hit the like button. Yeah. SK said Dubai's image has been tainted for investment. SK, jump across to YouTube, because I'm not going to be reading the comments on there. I'm just letting people know on Insta. But yeah, you're right. Dubai's image has been tainted for investments. It has, but it will be all right. Dubai will be fine. Dubai will be fine. It will be fine. But there's other parts which obviously will be affected, but Dubai will be fine. It will be fine. Right, so let's get into this. Hit the like button. Anyone that's on TikTok or streaming on YouTube, and anyone that's Iranian as well. It'll be really good to get some people that's Iranian. Anyway, to be fair, anyone that's Middle Eastern, to be fair with it, or from Dubai, or anyone that's in the chat, it'll be good to get their some feedback. So let's get into this, and we're gonna break down a little bit of this. All right. I've gone to Wikipedia. So it's just to give you a brief breakdown of what it is. There's lots of different places we can get a platform, but Wikipedia, I looked at this and it pretty much explains it, just to give you a quick insight to it, insight into what we're doing, right? Cool. Jim man, I see you, bro. I see you, Jim man. I see you. If I don't see your comments, it's because I'm reading, yeah? I hit the like button. Let's go. So on the 28th of February 2026, the United States and Israel launched surprise airstrikes on multiple sites and cities across Iran, killing Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and the other Iranian officials and starting a war. Iran responded with missile and drone strikes against Israeli and US allied countries and based in the region, including Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and United Arab Emirates. Damn, they were really these man, I can't lie, Iran really was sending them shots out. It's mad. After the Middle Eastern crisis began in 2023, Iran and Israel exchanged missile strikes in 2024, and again during a 12-day war in June 2025, which saw a US airstrike on Iran's nuclear facilities. That was last year. In January 2026, Iranian security forces deleted thousands of protesters during the largest protest since the Islamic Revolution. Iran and the US held indirect nuclear negotiations in February, while the US undertook its largest military buildup in the Middle East since 2003 invasion of Iraq. Following the night of Omani mediator briefed the major negotiation progress and Iranian agreements to zero enriched uranium stockpile, the war began with joint airstrikes by the US and Israel against military government sites in the cities of Tehran, Isfahan, Qom, Karaj, and Khameneihad. The strikes assisted Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, whose compound was destroyed. Other Iranian officials were also killed. There were civilian casualties as well as damage to schools, hospitals, and cultural heritage sites. Iran then launched hundreds of drones and ballistic missiles at targets in Israel and at US military bases in Qatar, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iran struck civilian infrastructure in Azerbaijan, Bahrain, and Israel, and just multiple places. Britain's military base in Cyprus was struck by a drone. Iran also forced the Strait of Hormuz to close and attacked energy facilities. That's disrupting global oil and gas. So at the moment, no ships can pass through. If any ships pass through, they're likely to get shot down, and or likely for the soldiers to be captured. So yeah, and that's a major strait for oil to be delivered. And they're talking about the oil prices currently going up right now. Yeah. All right, cool. President Donald Trump and other US officials offering varying shifting objectives with their attack, including that it was to ward off an imminent Iranian threat to destroy Iran's missiles and military capabilities, to prevent Iran from ever having a nuclear weapon, to secure its natural resources, and ultimately to achieve regime change by bringing the Iranian opposition to power. Iran later, the US Pentagon rejected claims that Iran had been preparing for an attack. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and several uninvolved countries condemned the US-Israeli strikes. The United Nations Security Council passed a resolution condemning Iran's retaliatory strikes on the Gulf states. Critics of the initial strikes, including legal experts, have described the attacks as a violation of Iran's sovereignty under international law. The cost of US operations is estimated between 890 million to 1 billion a day. Are you hearing me? They're spending 1 billion a day on war. 1 billion a day on war. Like, one one 1 billion a day on war. Are you guys hearing this? If you can spend 1 billion a day on war, then there's no reason why anyone should be homeless. There's no that it lets you know that poverty is created. If you can spend $1 billion a day on war, poverty, they create poverty. Guys, listen to me what I'm saying to you. $1 billion a day. The war is costing $1 billion a day. Think about that. $1 billion. Guys, think about that. There's 365 days in a year. If that war goes on for 365 days for a year, and we've all seen how these wars go on, that's 365 billion. So let's think back to the wars, like the wars in Iraq, like what they said that went on for years. That's trillions. So poverty, so no one needs to be okay. So you guys have seen the work that I do with the homeless. We slept out for the homeless, we raised funds. In actual fact, big up the hundreds, big up Ringo Vision. They went out to Brum and they took out some packs there and delivered to the homeless. Yeah, you do realize that there's about 300,000 homeless people. You probably think there's more, but there's about 300. I thought there was more. I thought there was more homeless people, but there's about 300,000 people that are living, that are homeless, or they don't have any place to be, no fixed abode, right? About 300,000. But there's millions of unoccupied properties. You do realize there are more properties that are empty than there are homeless people. But the perception is that there are more homeless people than there are empty properties. That's the perception. But trust me on this one. There's not as many homeless people as you think in comparison to how many empty properties and buildings that are available that could house people. It's designed to be that way. And some people, listen, you can't save everyone. I get it. There's a proportion of the homeless people, all manner of reasons. I get it. But what I'm trying to say to you, there's no reason why people can't be helped. We create these things. When they say, oh, we have the world. Hold on, let me see. Let me Google this quickly. The world debt. Okay. Let's quickly pull this up for a second. Let's pull this up for a second. So, the world debt, all right? Quick AI view, right? The global debt is a massive growing burden exceeding 300 to 345 trillion as early as 2026, driven by high government borrowing, corporate debt, and household liabilities. 345 trillion global debt. 345 trillion, you see it there. But I want to ask you guys a question. 345 trillion. Who do we owe this money to? To the moon. Who do you owe that money to the moon? How can it doesn't even make do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? 340, we have a global debt of 345 million, so trillion. But who do you owe? Who do you pay that to? To the moon, to Jupiter, to Mars. It doesn't even exist. It doesn't even exist. It doesn't even exist. So this whole thing that they're talking about, and I'm trying to use that as an example to you. Like, who do they owe it to? Look, the globe, look, it's there. It's there for you to see. Google it yourself. The global debt. The global debt is a massive growing burden. Burden to who? Who is it? Who do we owe this money to? The aliens. Guys, listen to the next time they say to you, like, oh yeah, who do we owe the money to? They said a global debt. Who do we have to pay this 345 trillion? Who's getting this money? Ask AI. Ask AI. Let me ask Chat GPT. Let me ask Chat GPT. uh, Let me ask Chat GPT. Who do we? Who? Let me ask this. Who do we owe the global debt to? Who do we need to pay? Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's is that let's find out. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. Let's see what Chat GPT says. Let's see what Chat. Oh, I just dropped. I just dropped my. Let's see what Chat GPT says. Right. Let's see, because the man them said ask Chat GPT. All right, cool. Global debt now estimated over 315 trillion isn't owed to one person. Let's go. All right. Isn't owed to one person, company, or even a small group of super rich creditors. The reality is both simpler and stranger. The world largely owes money to itself. Whoa. The world owes money to itself. Someone says, I think we owe that to the sun. Hey, if we owe it to the sun, we better pay, because the sun can just scorch you. I've watched enough disaster movies to know we don't want to play around with the sun. You just want to keep it exactly how it's always been. You don't want it hotter, you don't want it colder. You just want to keep the sun the way it is. The way whatever's yeah, we owe it to the sun. I find that very funny. But let's read who we owe this money to. All right. Let's read it, and then we'll get back straight into it. Here's how the breakdown works. Domestic creditors hold most government debt. In major economies like the US, Japan, and those in EU, most national debt is fully held by the country's own citizens and institutions. Pensions funds, insurance companies, banks, and individual investors. For example, if you have a retirement account, part of it is probably invested in government bonds, meaning you are technically one of the creditors. As The Guardian put it, we owe it to ourselves, since taxpayers and investors are often two sides of the same ledger. 2. Foreign governments and investment also play a big role. Foreign holdings are significant. According to Reuters, out of roughly 36 trillion in US government debt, a large share is owned by foreign countries and investors. The main foreign holders include Japan, China, the UK, and various offshore financial centers. Okay. 3. Private institution investors, bank, hedge funds, mutual funds, and central banks all hold government and corporate debt. These debts circulate constantly and bought and sold in the market, so who is owed changes from moment to moment. 4. The poorest nations owe externally, often to the wealthy. Lower income countries owe most of their debt to foreign government, international institutions like the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and private lenders. As Action Aid reports, 54 countries are in debt crisis, collectively paying 138 billion yearly just to service debts, often at the expense of health or education budgets. Meanwhile, many of the same rich lending nations owe far larger climate debts back to the global south, an imbalance of power on some vicious cycle. 5. Ultimately, the system owes itself. The global economy runs on debt as an organization mechanism. As Nash Fact and Investor Handbook both, the paradox is that nearly every government, business, and household owes someone, but those debts are assets to someone else. The world economy isn't borrowing from a single source, it's borrowing internally within its own financial ecosystem. In short, wealthy nations owe mostly to themselves. Poor nations owe mainly to wealthy nations and global lenders. And globally, debt is the web of promises that keeps the financial system spinning, not a bill waiting for one person to collect. Actually, yes. It said, would you like me to? Yes, show me a diagram. I like that. So, guys, why I say I need to sign in? Oh, I can sign in. I didn't sign in. I just used it from the thing. But I can sign in. But yeah, it pretty much explained it from there. Guys, we don't, like I said, we owe it to ourselves. It's invisible. It doesn't make any sense. Like the debt, each person owes it to. So the government owes it to us because they take our money and we're basically their creditors, and they invest it and they do whatever they want to go and do. Rich nations essentially don't owe to anyone. The poor nations pay to them, and individual. So it's just just on a bigger scale. You know what I mean? Big up Katie Lou. I see you hit the like button. So, all right, cool. Let's get back into Iran. So we just wanted to say, look, because I was reading it and was like, who do we owe the money? That was just crazy. But we're gonna get back into Iran. So I've got a friend, and shout out to her, Persia, big her up, because I saw a lot of stuff on her story, and she essentially was saying that, look, people aren't like the West, like her friends don't understand. We think it's a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing that Trump and Netanyahu have gone in there, have gone in there to go and do something. So, like, I'm one of those people. I've seen a lot, and I was trying to. I didn't know what to say in regards to how I can help. So I just said, okay, like, what can I do? And she told me essentially a lot of the stuff. And I was like, right, cool. I'm going to do a stream and we're going to try to highlight it as well. Because I've seen everyone just doing the normal ones. And I did a reaction as well about celebs in Dubai and they can't get out of Dubai. But that's just the commercial one where obviously people want to see that. But this is a little bit more context into actually what's going on. And guys, you got to be aware because it's already affecting people already. If you want to fly to Dubai or fly in certain places, it's affecting you. You know, Iran did a drone strike again. They shot it down. They shot down the drone, but it was near the airport, and some of the shrapnel from the drone hit down, and it injured a Ghanaian guy, and I think a Bangladeshi guy as well. So it's real, and Dubai has Dubai is controlling the amount of information that can come out of Dubai. It's actually against the law to be making content that speaks about and puts the country that puts in certain light. So some of the information is not going to be as accurate coming out of there because it's illegal. Do you understand? So yeah, it's actually real. So I know a few people that's supposed to go to Dubai and they couldn't go to Dubai now. So you know, it's actually real. It's actually real. Right. Let me get into this. All right. So the Islamic Republic, so-called religious leaders of state, have been using violence to oppress the Iranian people for 47 years. Every time Iranians protest for freedom or basic rights, they delete and execute their own people for not agreeing with them. It's been happening for decades. The people running the Islamic Republic call themselves Muslim, but they do not follow the core teachings of Islam in any sense. They follow an ideology. They have infiltrated themselves into the Middle East and fund the proxy groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Palestine, who also delete and oppress their own people. Israel is also not a saint and has been deleting Palestinians, as you know. The Iranians scream delete to the America and then send their children to work and study in the US and Europe, laughing out loud. The irony. A few years ago, a woman got deleted in Iran for not wearing a hijab properly, and that was the Woman Life Freedom Movement. Last month, 40,000 Iranians were deleted for protesting, but that was never confirmed by Iranian state TV. Nobody made a fuss. Body bags on body bags. The state TV made jokes about what types of freezers to store those people bodies. You can see this in my highlights. I don't watch the BBC or any of these Western news programs for updates and have been watching Iran International, which receives videos from the Iranian people from the inside. It appears the BBC spews our oppressor's narrative, as is Keir Starmer at the moment. The Islamic Republic censors any information that does not serve them. They block social media, filter the internet, cut off the countries during protests, arrest journalists, and force confessions on camera. They have stricken down their own commercial plane from Tehran, Flight 752, with their own people on board, just to say America did it. Now, there was an alleged bombing of the school in the south of Iran, and children were deleted. Iranian state media are saying Israel did it, but we know them all too well. A lot of Iranians know what they are capable of and would do this themselves just to make themselves look like the poor Middle Eastern country that's being attacked by the West. Now, everybody likes war, and I'm praying for everybody's safety, but without foreign intervention, the Iranian people cannot overthrow this government on its own. The people that don't support regime change are just concerned about being anti-Israel and anti-US. Therefore, sitting from the comfort of their sofas, they don't care if Iranians are being violently deleted or don't have basic rights inside Iran, as it doesn't involve slamming Israel. All the funding has gone to Palestine. Does nobody want to talk about where it goes? the Hamas leaders living in a luxury in Qatar. Okay, let me play some. Okay, let's pull this up. So what about the debt the Western society owes Africa? Uptown, that's another one. We'll deal with that later on. We'll deal with that one later on. That's another stream. That's another stream. But let's deal with this one, and that's another stream. Do you get me? We will definitely do that. What about the debt? Guys, this is not whataboutism. What about the debt, America and UK or Africa? Guys, we can do it. Don't worry. That debt can never be paid because well, when I say it can never be paid, the wealth systems will balance. That's it. That's it. Everyone will be up. All the man them will be up. Everyone will be up. That's why they can never pay that. Because bro, everyone will be up. They could never pay that. This is why their taxes so much. If they had to pay Africa what they owe them, what, are you crazy? The whole Western world will cripple. Like we couldn't have our iPhones and our phones. You couldn't have that. You understand? How are you gonna have that? The components that go into your phone, the natural resources. Like, there's a reason. You have to look at all the countries with the natural resources. Those are the countries that they always go to war in there. All the countries with natural resources are the countries that there's always war. And it's the West that always go into those countries to war. And the people that have those resources tend to just be, think about where God put all the resources. He put them in the third world. You know what I mean? Quotation marks. He gave them to the people. Fuel gone up, plus everything gonna go up in April. Rent already, yeah, everything going up. The oil barrels, everything's going up. Everything's going up. Guys, it's very peak right now. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. It's not looking good, bruv.
GC as the resistance because it opposes Western imperialism. So let's just be clear here. The resistance is the people. The resistance is the doctors who were given death sentences for treating wounded protesters. The resistance is the protesters who were shot, imprisoned, and killed. The resistance is the families who were forced to search through dead bodies to find their children. Any power that criminalizes care, fears unarmed crowds, and terrorizes its own population is not resisting empire, it is practicing it. If your definition of resistance requires ignoring mass graves, torture chambers, forced confessions, grieving families, and prisons filled with people whose only crime was dissent, then it is not liberation you're defending. It is domination dressed up in radical language. I saw someone refer to the IRGC as the resistance.
So yeah, I'm just sharing some content, some people that are speaking about it, and that's what I'm gonna say. Like, with the platform, especially, I'm from North London, so I got a lot of Iranian friends, and there were people that were actually in the streets celebrating, and there was other people that were obviously against it, and other people celebrating. So you're like, because when I first heard it, I was like, nah, Trump and Netanyahu, nah, they're pagans. They can't just go bombing in and just doing whatever they wanted to go and do. So yeah. Look, diesel is, let's talk about it. Diesel is £1.52 litre. Petty's £1.36 a litre, and I reckon it's gonna climb. Of course it's gonna climb. Gold's gone up. Gold has skyrocketed. Silver skyrocketed. Go look at wait, hold on. Gold. Let's look at gold price. Look. See? Look at the price of gold. Let's look. But guys, I'm giving you some education right now. So gold is currently £3,861 an ounce. Silver, 64 ounce. Silver, palladium. Let's focus on this real quick. So let's look at gold for a second. It's currently at 3,000. Okay, so cool. Week high, 3.9. Week low. All right, cool. So let's look the price of gold between Let's go back. Now, I'm gonna go 3 months. All right, cool. You can see. You can see. You can see, look, it just shot up. It just shot up. Had a month high of 4,000 an ounce. Like it was shot up. Do you want to see how much gold was a year ago? Cool. A year ago, look, 2,250 to now, it's almost doubled in price within a year. Just a bit of investment for you guys. So today, an ounce is costing you almost £4,000, and this is due to the war. Like gold price will go up anyway, but this is due to the war, and it will get worse. So it might be time to look into some oil futures or some other futures. How about the last 30 years? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, same thing as well. How about the last 30 years? A kg. Look, it comes down to this, innit? It's always a good time to invest into precious metals, other things too, but it's always a good time. Like it's not gonna make you rich overnight. Well, if a war happens, yeah, it might do if you got enough of it. But what it does do is a hedge. It hedges your money, and it's a lot easier to carry a few ounces of gold across in your hand, in your pocket. A few ounces of gold, which would be 12, basically just under 12,000 pounds, and you'll be holding 3 ounces in your pocket. 3 ounce coins. It's not a lot. Do you understand? 3 gold coins in your pocket, and you basically got 12,000 pounds versus walking around with 12,000 pounds. You get it? So, just a little bit of, yeah, just thinking outside of the box. If we're gonna do that, a bit of thinking outside the box. TikTok, hit the like button. We're streaming on YouTube. But yeah, basically, this is what's going on. It's the war is making prices shoot up across everything. Buy gold, silver, and XRP. You crypto guys, I stay away from you crypto guys, man. You crypto guys, it's going to the moon. All I ever hear is going to the moon. All I ever hear is going to the moon. Cobalt, yeah, cobalt. You need that. Congo, man. Congo. That's what I'm saying. I said the sun will one day rise from the west. Countries lending to other countries. Yeah, I'm just going through the debts. We owe the monopoly man. Yeah, because who do we own? Like, who do we owe all that money to? Still, no one could tell us who we owe the money to. No one can tell us who we owe the money to. Still, no one can tell us who we owe the money to. You understand? You know what I mean? Someone said it's difficult to cancel. You can't. You can only cancel someone that cancels themselves. And I woke up today and I was breathing. So the Lord wants me to wants me to be here. Let's not do the bad energy, please. Let's keep it. Yeah, the best place to save, invest in gold and spare money. The man them got buy gold. Yeah. Buy gold, buy silver, and get some stocks and shares in it. Yeah. Just buy what you understand. You get me? Whenever I put money into something I don't understand, I lost it. That's the truth of the matter. Whenever I put Nubian, go look at my YouTube. You haven't seen. Someone said still, you clearly haven't seen because I already did that a long time ago. Go look at my YouTube. It's there. Go look at my page. It's there. It's just that people don't like to post. They don't want to post the other stuff. They just want to post the negative stuff. So, but no, it's there. You just haven't seen it. Go look at it. It's there. Yeah, someone said, look at Ginge, he's thriving more than ever. New Battle League. Canceling is a myth. Like, it's just, you know what it is? Why would you even want to cancel someone? Like, why would you, like, it's just, it's weird. It's a weird culture. Um, yeah, it's weird. But people live to hope that your life is over. Like, it just tells you so much about other people's lives, really. And it lets you know that people think that, yeah, it's just, But motivation, kid, get up, go, be accountable, then get back to work. Cause the rent's still gonna be paid, man. The rent's still gonna be paid. You know what I'm saying? The rent's still gonna be paid. Right. I was let me get
آزادی مسلمونی میخوای بری بیدین شی به جهنم مرد و شور خودتو ببرن و دینداری تو سر به تنت نباشه
I wish for your decapitation. Whoa. Iranian cleric threatens deletion to anyone who denies Islam. We will delete you and we will delete you good. Rob of faith. A shocking warning from Shia Muslim cleric in Iran reveals extreme persecution faced by those who question or leave Islam. He declared, we will delete you good, targeting Iranians who say they are not Muslim. This is a harsh reminder that freedom of faith is under threat in many parts of the world, and Christians and other believers must pray, stand firm, and support the persecuted church. We cannot turn a blind eye to religious intolerance. Now, more than ever, the body of Christ must be vigilant, strong, and unmoved in faith.
تو میخوای بیای علنی کنی جار بزنی توطئه کنی دو دور را بندازی توی کوچه خیابون نه ما همچه اجازه به تو
No, we won't allow it.
تو میخوای بری کافر شی به جهنم برو کافر شو تو خونه در غلطی میخوای بکنی تو و 4 نفر دیگه مثل تو بیان مسلمون بشن باز فردا از دین برگردن بعد بیان تو خیابون دار بزنن بعد نمیدونم فلان کنن بعد داستان را بندازید و بعد کل دین را و اسلام را و قرآن را و شریعت را بخوان زیر سوال ببرن نه ما همچی اجازه میکشیم خوبم میکشیم بله تو آزادی مسلمونی میخوای بری بیدین شی به جهنم مرد و شور خودتو ببرن و دینداری تو سر به تنت نباشه اما اگه تو میخوای بیای
Whoa. People calling when I'm streaming. Guys, that's kind of crazy still. I can't even lie. That was kind of crazy. You do know Christians are the most persecuted in the world, like, just so you know. Being a Christian is the most persecuted. You're the most persecuted. Like, if you try to follow the life of Jesus, the world will hate you. Everyone's gonna hate you. If you try to follow the life of Jesus, and my friend that's Iranian, she's Christian, so she's not Muslim. She had to leave. Her dad had to leave there because her dad had to leave because he was Christian. He couldn't be Christian. There couldn't be Christian in Iran. Like, being a Christian, you're the most persecuted across the world. And try to preach Christian values or try to live your life by Jesus or in the Bible, and they're gonna hate you. They're gonna hate you. How many Christians are preaching? I can go right now and show the Christians preaching on the street, and everyone's coming up to them and trying to attack them. Because if you follow the Bible, the Bible does not falter. It has the rules. The Bible is there, right? And if you follow the Bible, you have to be prepared for the world to hate you. You do understand that. If you're a true Christian, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the world to hate you. You have to be prepared for the world to hate you. Because you're going to be preaching against everything. Out of you're gonna be out of wedlock, pregnant, children. Oh, they're gonna hate you for that. oh, you're gonna be preaching against same-sex relationships. They're gonna hate you for that because it's what the Bible says. So when you see, I can pull up preachers right now. Furthermore, hold on a second. I'll pull up some preachers afterwards. But I'm just saying. So if you want to live your, just prepared for everyone to hate you, because you're going against the world, the current world, and you're basing it on your faith. Technically, this country is a Christian country. You know when them big up their man them, the reform man them, when they want to say, "Oi, this is a Christian country." You know what I mean? Christian values. It's a Christian country. You know what I mean? Don't come here with your Allah. Yeah. When they want to say that, interesting. But try preach on the streets. And the police will come. But it's a Christian country, right? Church of England. Church of England. This is a Christian country. But it doesn't practice Christianity or its values. It doesn't. They don't talk about God in politics. America is different. You hear them speak about God. You listen, you heard what was his name? Bush say that God spoke to him, told him about the war. Like, America's different. You need to include God in your politics. They want to hear a man's got faith. In the UK, our politics are different. They don't want to hear that. But Christians are the most persecuted. Christians are the most persecuted. What's even worse, if you're white Christian, working class Christian, you guys are not gonna like this one. You guys are not gonna like this one because they're gonna be like, "Oh no, China, what do you mean? The white working class Christian is the most persecuted." I don't know. That can never be. How can that be? Let me break it down to you for a second. We live in a white country, right? Yeah, this is a white country because it is a white country. Majority of people in white, right? Cool. All right. So look at the Englishman. Let's talk about the Englishman, right? All right, cool. He's seen his country change. Cool. For the better. Majority for the better, but there's parts for the worse. All right? Cool. Whenever they talk about he can't fly his flag outside at his house. Why? Because it's deemed to be offensive. I understand why, because the England flag and certain things from the 90s and synonymous with the far right and the NF and the Skinners. I get it. But it's still a flag, right? And if you're a patriot and you have a sense of national pride, you should be able to fly your flag outside. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. Like, I'm not one of those people that are getting triggered. Why am I getting triggered by someone else's flag? Because if I want to fly my flag, you better not tell me anything. So he can't even fly his flag. He can't even be proud. Okay, cool. No worries. All right. They witness people coming to their country, and they can't speak against certain things because when they do, they're called racist. They get called racist, right? Anytime they say anything, imagine anytime you speak out about anything in your country, you get told you're racist. Try doing that in Africa. Furthermore, in Africa and certain places, they don't want to see anyone coming there and telling them this and that, even though historically certain things have happened. So you're Christian, you have Christian values, you believe in Christian values, and on top of that, you're white working class. The stats don't represent that. And you're always labeled racist. I got friends like that. They're not racist. They have values in that. They're not racist. So I'm just putting that out there. But Christian values, though, we're supposed to be a country of Christian. We're supposed to be a country of Christian values. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be a country of Christian values. All right. That's what they said. You get me? That's what they. Yo, I need to block this person. Your name is crazy. What? You should have just been quiet. Then I just see you with your caps lock. I gotta block you. Crazy. Yeah, I'll check that. Black Iranians and especially Christian Black Iranians are treated horrendously in Iran, allegedly. Let me tell you something, brother. One thing I can tell you, and one thing I can promise you this, as a black man, no matter where you are in the world, you will be treated the worst. The women will love you, but the society will treat you the worst. Well, that's a common thing across the world. Black people. The same thing with the Afro-Palestinians. Do you know what it is for an Afro-Palestinian, Afro-Israeli? You know, there's Afro-Israelis and Afro-Palestinians. Have you seen them talk about how they treatment? So it's mad. That's why I'm not really like. Obviously, I want everyone to be free and everyone to have a certain lifestyle. But end of the day is, I saw people come at Stormzy for a McDonald's meal and they tried to cancel him because he had a McDonald's meal. But I saw a bunch of hypocrites talking about, oh, he said free Palestine. Now he's got McDonald's. So what? They got McDonald's in Dubai. What are you talking about? They got McDonald's all over the Arabs, all over the UAE. There's McDonald's. What are you talking about? But yet you want to try to pull Stormzy down because he did a deal and he made money, and you want it to what? Disregard all the work he's done, the Murky Foundation, what, putting kids into Oxford, the books, the football, all the funerals he's paid for. No, you're not gonna do that. Like, so I'm saying, it's not. Nah, you're not gonna do that. We don't support that over here. It's not. As much as I agree, they need to not apply this to black people, African, Caribbean, whatever. We try to change the country or enforce any other religion. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I don't put it down, but I'm just saying I recognize that. As a Christian, I recognize white Christians and certain Christians, they don't feel as if they can say certain things. And I get it. I fully understand it. I fully get it. You know what I mean? So I'm saying I fully get it. Big up Mahali, yo. I see you, bro. We're streaming on YouTube. We're just having we're breaking this down. Right. Let's watch a video now. So now we all know. So now we kind of got a background to the war, what's going on. But what I want to do now is I want to give you a little history lesson. Do you understand about actually how they got here? We know what's going on recently, yeah, but how did they actually get to this point? You guys are getting education tonight. So I'm saying you're getting education tonight. Let's get the likes on TikTok. Let's get the likes up. You're getting education tonight, and I'm trying to support the Iranian community, my friends, and the people that have reached out to me as well. And I think this is what needs to be done. I've done content before about the celebs in Dubai and the people that are stuck out there and all that type of stuff, but this is more. This is essentially more what the people that in the know, the actual Iranians and the people that have been screaming for a regime change, screaming for the West to intervene, they finally got their moment, and they can see people trying to campaign and say, "Oh, against it," and they're like, "You don't know what you're talking about. You're not even Iranian, and that does not matter. But you don't actually understand what's going on." But then some people say, "No, that's just the Western Iranians. It's not the people in Iran." But all I'm getting is you saw some of those clips there. You heard what they said. If you try to become a Christian, they would delete you. Like, what country do you want to be in where if you change your religion, they're gonna come and take your life, decapitate you? Man said decapitate just because you want to change faith. That's not a good country to be in. I'll be real with you. That's not a good country to be in. They're gonna cut off your head if you want to change your faith. That's a bit extreme. If you don't think that's extreme, then I don't know what to say to you. But that's very extreme. You can't be cutting off man's head because you want to turn Buddhist. That's crazy. Cutting off man's head because you want to speak to Jesus. Like, that don't even make no sense.
The story of the rivalry between the US and Iran goes way back.
States like these constitute an axis of evil.
If Iran cheats, we can catch them, and we will.
They're a nation of terror, and we won't put up with it.
It's a complex relationship, shaped by years of Western intervention, control over oil, and regional alliances.
The relationship between Iran and America has been rancorous, turbulent, tortuous, really.
And now a new chapter started, with US-Israeli strikes taking out Iran's leader, hundreds of civilians paying the price for ongoing attacks, and now a full regional war.
There is concern about what happens next and where this actually ends.
We're standing on this cliff and peering over the edge and not sure what's going to be there.
So how do we get here? I'm Oliver Nikido Lynham, and this is Sky News Explains. It's important to say that relations between the US and Iran didn't start in 1953, and Iran has its own rich history, which precedes all of this. But to understand the dynamic between the US and the Islamic Republic, let's start at 1953. It was the year of a British and US-backed coup to overthrow the country's democratically elected and secular Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh.
He wanted to nationalise Iran's oil.
That's Dominic Waghorn, our international affairs editor who's reported on Iran for decades.
The British had effectively sort of sewn up Iran's oil very much in their interest, and this was a direct threat to the British, and they called on American help.
Okay, we need a bit of context about oil. Iran has some of the biggest oil reserves in the world, and in the early 1900s, a former Shah, the monarch, made a deal with a British businessman that gave Britain the rights to explore and export a lot of Iran's oil. And the deal led to the creation of the Anglo-Persian Company, which is the origins of where BP came from, British Petroleum. You might be wondering, if it was about protecting British oil interests, then what's in it for the Americans?
Wait a minute. BP comes from Iran. Guys, are you hearing this? BP started in Iran. See BP, that's everywhere. See BP petrol station. It started in Iran. See, when you start going down, when you start learning about history, you start understanding that you just really understand that everybody was brethren, everybody was friends, everybody was making money. Then something happened, but everyone was always cool. Whenever there tends to be an issue with any of these countries, everyone was cool. Everyone was friends. Then they fall out. They're right. I'm gonna start dropping bombs on you. But BP originated in Iran, so that's a little piece of Iran everywhere. But let's get straight back into it. BP's petrol station, you know. All right.
I would say it's a combination between the oil issue and communism. Oil was the main concern of the British, and possibly communism was the main concern of the Americans. And it was the strength of the Iranian Communist Party, which was a homegrown party, of course, aligned to Moscow, but very much the only structural party with a nationwide organization and more, which probably swayed the Americans.
So, working with Iranian opposition groups, CIA operatives inside Iran, and MI6 made a plan to overthrow the prime minister.
There were CIA operatives that were controlling things and were managing things, but it was very much an Iranian operation. There was a vast array of opponents to Mossadegh.
The result? Mossadegh was arrested, tried for treason, and put in prison. And the US-backed Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was restored to power and ruled Iran as an absolute monarch for the next 26 years. Even though the US now admits that it was involved in the coup, it took decades for an official confirmation to come out.
Are you hearing this? The US admitted that they were involved in the coup to remove, right? They didn't admit it, but then for decades they didn't admit. Then they admitted afterwards. Guys, I want you to be aware that America. This is what America does. They finance wars. They destabilize countries. Okay, they've been doing this for the long. This is what they do, and they did it in Iran, and technically, you know, they do it again. Like, what a lot of people don't know, Iran was like, you know, Iran was the Dubai of the middle. Iran was like Dubai before they changed it. It was for women. Things were different for women before they changed it. Women were able to, Iranian women, very beautiful women, very, very fashionable women, you know. Like, Iranian women away from Iran. Look how Iranian women away from Iran, and look at how they are. Versus if you see Iranian women in Iran, it's like, wow, them women are away from Iran. Iranian women are lit. I think that's why they want to hold them down, because they don't like Iranian women being too lit. Because Iranian women be lit, man. They be lit.
But now declassified CIA documents show you just how involved the agency was. Take a look at this document, titled The Battle for Iran. It says here that the military coup that overthrew Mossadegh in his National Front cabinet was carried out under CIA direction as an act of US foreign policy, conceived and approved at the highest levels of government. So while the coup helped restore British interests, it really brought US intervention in Iran into the picture. But over the course of the Shah's reign, he became increasingly unpopular.
As the economy kind of turned against him and economic fortunes turned against him, he resorted more and more to repression. And the instrument of repression was the Savak, the Iranian secret police, who were more and more brutal. And he led a life of conspicuous wealth. And the perception, I think, for the Iranian people was, while they were suffering economically, he was living this life of luxury.
Alongside this, a range of opposition groups gained popularity, and protests and calls for change within the country also grew.
These different groups, the leftist groups, the nationalist groups, the religious groups, all of these groups kind of coalesce eventually, and they come under the umbrella of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini.
Khomeini was a religious scholar and a vocal critic of the Shah, so much so that he was exiled in 1964 and didn't come back to Iran until the Shah fell in 1979.
The 1979 revolution was a revolution of sovereignty, independence, freedom, this whole anti-American sense. Anti-American as an anti-imperialism was a part of it.
So the 1979 revolution is really important because it marked the start of the Islamic Republic, with Ruhollah Khomeini as the supreme leader of Iran, in a system of government that still exists today. So how did the US view the revolution?
Well, you've got this anti-Western Islamist government coming into power, having deposed a pro-Western Shah. And so the stage is set for, you know, a total deterioration in relations between Iran and outside Western powers, most of all America.
But over the years, the Islamic Republic has heavily expanded its control over the population. And there's many ways they've done that, like mass surveillance, using internet shutdowns, and its morality police. All of this has made it really difficult and really dangerous for people inside Iran who disagree with the regime. And how popular has the regime been over the years?
It depends who you talk to, I think, and it's hard to say because it's hard to do.
So Annie says he came back to Iran with the help of the US and flew in via Air France. Okay, so US involved again. So the people that would later go on to drop a bomb and delete him are the same people that flew him in. It's crazy, that, isn't it? This is what I said to you guys before. They were all in bed together. Then someone got upset and kicked the person out the bed. Then they're like, right, I'm gonna drop bombs on you. But they were all, this is a lot of the times this is how it goes. Gaddafi as well. Where was Gaddafi? Like, same thing with Gaddafi, the same thing. Yeah. The same thing with Robert Mugabe, educated over here, the same thing. And then they fall out, and then we're gonna drop bombs on you. It's the exact same thing. And you know, USA flew him in after the Shah of Iran was toppled, right? Cool. And then now, years later, they're gonna drop bombs and take him out and take his whole family out. All right. A few years before the Shah of Iran said he was going to hike up oil prices, so then they thought by installing Khamenei would work in their favor. Once again, regime change. This is one of the things that Trump spoke about, doing regime change. So the thing about regime change is they put in people that they think are going to do what they want them to do. It's something that is, you know, it's happened. But then these people have their own ideas. And they say, actually, you know what? We're not going to do what the USA wants us to do. No, we're going to do something different. You know? That's what's going to happen. So yeah, but let's get straight back into it. Big up Annie for the information. Our little Iranian correspondent.
Go there, it's hard to operate when you go there. And if you do go there, you are in the care of government-appointed hosts, if you like, or minders, however you want to characterize them, on the underground. I remember one guy came up to me and he said, don't listen to a word they say, they're lying.
And in the decades following the revolution, there have been multiple protests, ranging from issues around the economy to women's rights, and they show the level of resistance to the existing government. This includes the Women Life Freedom Movement, following the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman who died in custody after Iran's morality police claimed she wasn't wearing her hijab properly.
I think you could argue that going back and looking at some of the first large protests, maybe 1999.
Oh, wait, let's stop that. How you gonna take a woman's life because she's not wearing her hijab properly? That's barbaric. Like, how are you gonna take a woman's life because she's not wearing her hijab properly? Is it that deep? Like, shout out to all the women in hijab. You look beautiful in your hijab. So I'm saying, we love a woman that covers her head. It's lovely. It's beautiful. But if she doesn't cover her head, so what? It's not that deep. But this is what happens when you have these extreme regimes. People feel they can just delete a woman that's not wearing her hijab. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. There's no. I don't know where. I don't know what. Even just thinking that's a viable. What? Don't even make any sense. You have to be tapped. People in Iran just want freedom of choice. But choice for what though? Now he's gone. I heard that his son's been sworn in now. I'm gonna say. So they said his son's sworn in now, but let's go back into this.
Protests in Iran, that Iran has been in a constant state of protest since then, because each of these movements have popped up and asked for different things that have never been given to by the state. So each of these movements have continued to compound on each other. It's very dangerous to participate in a protest in Iran. You can be killed by the state. We've seen that multiple times in the Islamic Republic's history.
In the years immediately after the revolution and the decades that followed, there are so many events that led to a fracturing relationship between the US and Iranian officials. Let's take a look at a few of them. 1979 was the start of the hostage crisis, which saw 52 Americans held in the US Embassy in Tehran for 444 days, which led to US sanctions on Iran. In the 1980s, the US supported the Iraqi side of the Iran-Iraq war, where hundreds of thousands of people died. And in 1988, the US shot down an Iranian commercial plane.
Whoa, hey. So wait a minute. So the USA puts in this guy, right? Cool. It doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. And then now look at all the stuff they're doing. Financing wars, shooting down. America has done the most. This is why history is important. But majority of people don't care about history. So they don't understand why. So whenever things are like, oh, but no, when you look at history, a lot of the times you're gonna start understanding actually who the aggressor is. But I realize that people don't care about that. They don't. People don't want to know the context. They just want to be like, oh. But once you discover the context, you're not playing. You can't. It's not a victim thing. You can't. You're not the victim. Like, do you understand? America has had a history of doing this, not just in the Middle East, in Africa as well, like all across the world. America they have a long history of doing this. Britain too, financing wars, financing coups, militias. This is not new. There are videos of circulating of Iranians that are patriots, not sure of a percentage who are pro-govern, none. Yeah, look, here's the thing. There are clearly people that are supportive of the Iranian government and are patriots of it, of course. But then there's all the other people that have had to leave Iran and they can't go back to Iran. Because if they do, they fear for their life. People will, certain people will have to get enlisted into the army for no reason other than the fact that, no, you need to go and fight. Imagine going back to Iran as a man and you're just going to go see if next minute they're telling you, no, you can't leave. We're taking your passport. You're enlisting. Happened to my brethren in Syria. It happened to him. Trust me. I know about that. Ain't heard from him since. He was at uni. That's a little while back. I don't think he made it out. I'm just going to keep it 100. I don't think he did. I've never heard from that guy ever again on social media, nothing. All I know is he went Syria he had to go there for, I think, a family funeral or whatever. I don't know. But they seized his passport and made him enlist. I've never heard of him again. He was a good drawer as well. Very good drawer. He could draw good, man. Probably about 10% of the population, if that, who have been indoctrinated to believe that their government equals God's work. So what? Do the majority of Iranians have the same feelings as you, Annie? Do they have the same feelings as you? Or do you belong to the micro? Bro, it's crazy. I'm sitting in a book with one bag of things where I didn't even know how to comprehend. But yo, the book got all stuff in there. Nostradamus, one of the elite foes. Leave my man Nostradamus alone.
Killing 290 people, which the US said it mistook for an Iranian fighter jet. And the US attitude towards Iran summed up in this speech by President George Bush in 2002.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil.
It's fair to say that no American presidents had particularly productive relations with the Iranians, from Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, both Bushes, Bill Clinton. I think by the time you get to Barack Obama, relations are so sour.
What? Iran's had beef with every US president. You know Iran's bad. No, Iran, you know Iran, you're bad because you had beef with every US president and you're still standing. Iran said what? No, they actually beefed every president. That's how I know. That's how I know Iran got some oil there. They got something there. They got something there. What's Iran got under the ground?
And there is so much suspicion and paranoia, particularly amongst the Iranians, that it's very hard for them to take seriously any American rapprochement.
But there's a topic we haven't discussed yet: nuclear weapons.
و دیگران مرتب از سلاح اتمی اسم میارن که اونها میخواهند ملت ایران این فناوری را نداشته باشد.
But it's not a conversation that's left in history. It's still going on today, with Donald Trump referring to it as one of the reasons why we're seeing US strikes in Iran right now.
This terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon.
Talking about Iran's nuclear capabilities really deserves its own episode. But basically, the US and a lot of the international community have long feared that Iran could be building its own nuclear weapon. Right now, there's no confirmed evidence that they've built one, and Iran's always denied it. But it's really complicated.
Their critics and most skeptics have always assumed that the Iranians were trying to build a nuclear weapon with their nuclear program, because the
computers
level to which they've been enriching uranium over the years far exceeds what you need for civilian purposes.
Whoa, they've been saying they've been saying this for time. What happened to the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? They never got found, ever. All we found was Saddam Hussein in a cave with two gold AK-47s, millions in cash, hella gold bricks. There was no weapons of mass destruction. There was none whatsoever. So what do they do? Okay, cool. They find Saddam. They hang him in the streets. Oh, everyone's happy. Cool. All right, cool. Now what happens? You get rid of Saddam Hussein, and then now you have you have Islamic State. You have everything that pops up. Taliban. You never had Taliban before that. And then after that Taliban, you have ISIS. You have everything. Like, it just continues. Why? Because regardless of what you guys thought, Saddam Hussein kept the order. He kept order. He was that ruthless. He kept the order, and he stopped all of these things happening, right? Cool. He was capo. You got rid of him, then you didn't get rid of the problem. It's like when they arrest someone for drug dealing, for shotting, right? It doesn't get rid of the problem. It just gets rid of the person supplying it, right? You don't get rid of the problem. The problem is still there. Someone else will now come in. But guess what? This person might be worse than the last person. The last person you thought this person was bad. Now, not this, and now it's not one person. It's bare other people now have gotten up. Now everyone's shotting now. Because that one guy that they had before, he made sure that no one else was shotting. And if you was shotting, he was definitely shotting for me. But now everybody could do whatever they want. And you can't control everybody. So now it's even worse. Sometimes it's better the enemy you know than the enemy that you don't know. Because at least you know your enemy. The next one might just be even worse than the one that you thought. You thought, oh, that guy's bad. Now the next guy is even worse than the last guy. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I only see pro-regimists online, and most of them aren't even Iranian. people think that because it's called Islamic Republic, that anything said against it is anti-Islam. I can't lie. After I heard the guy said he's looking to behead people, you might want to be careful. I'm just been saying, if you're over there, you might not want to do that. You just might not want to. You might not want to do that.
And they have used, though, the threat of the way they've been perceived of trying to build the bomb as a way of effectively blackmailing the international community.
But there was a breakthrough between the US, Iran, and other countries back in 2015. Under the deal, Iran agreed to significantly limit its nuclear activities and let international inspectors in exchange for economic sanctions being lifted.
That didn't open relations, but it kind of brought every temperature down until President Trump.
As you just heard, it didn't last long. Trump withdrew from it, calling it
the horror show,
bringing the temperature back up.
It's a terrible deal. The minute I collapsed that deal and terminated it, Iran went in a very bad direction.
Although we've spoken a lot about the relationship between US and Iranian officials, there are a lot more countries that we need to mention. Since the 1979 revolution, the US had become a dominant force in the Middle East, both in terms of its influence and military power. In response, Iran began building its own sphere of influence, starting with Hezbollah in Lebanon. So now let's turn to the current situation. Iran's allied groups in the region include a loose coalition, often called the Axis of Resistance. That's a series of militias, groups, and governments in different countries across the region, including Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, like we mentioned, the Houthis in Yemen, and various groups in Iraq and Syria.
I didn't know this.
These are all individual groups, but have been close allies for Iran.
As for the US, its allies include most notably Israel, but also Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE. Oman is neutral and even helped facilitate talks between Iran and the US before the war.
It still dropped some
but
drones.
it's been drawn into it after it was hit by Iran.
And the relationship between Iran and its allies over the years really matters. But what's changed is that a lot of them have been weakened. For example, Hamas and Hezbollah. So that brings us to today.
Very large boom. Well, you'll be well aware that that is an air raid siren that is being activated.
Whoa.
And the war in the Middle East that marks a whole new chapter for this story.
The United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Just days before this, though, the US and Iran were in fact in talks.
On the one hand, we're seeing a build-up of military hardware, an armada that was building up quite close to Iran. And on the other hand, we were seeing the nuclear talks beginning again indirectly between the United States and Iran. And those who were mediators, like the Omanis, for example, who were shuttling between the two sides, were actually indicating that things were moving quite well and that there were positive signs coming out.
But since then, the targeted killing of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei marked the start of a whole series of Israeli and US strikes on Iran and its allies. And in return, Iran's responded, hitting Israel and other US allies across the region. The killing of Iran's Supreme Leader is such a big moment in history. Videos have shown some Iranians celebrating the death of the Ayatollah, but we've also heard about the anxieties from other people about how all of this has played out.
I understood why people were celebrating, because, you know, this horrible person has finally been taken out. I think for me, and I think for so many people, I feel very anxious for what's to come. That's what's scary, is we're standing on this cliff and peering.
I'll tell you what's to come. It's going to be worse. I'm sorry, Iranians, but it's going to be worse. You know it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. It's going to be worse. I swear Khamenei's son has now gone into, I swear he's gone into power. We'll go look at that after. But I'm pretty sure they sworn his son into power. So what's going on? Iran, it'll get worse. I'm going to be honest, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Trump is going to drop some real Trump bombs. It's going to get worse. Let me quickly read this. I see Iranian footage. Humongous crowd. They're chanting while nearby gets hit. Them 12 Sharia on smoke, and I ain't even down with them. They got fractures all over Gulf too. They probably won. So what's the point of killing the supreme leader if they're still going? If it there is still, what is the point of killing the supreme leader if there are still going? If there is going a new leader of the same organization, basically, what's the point of killing the supreme leader if they go to if they're basically going to put his son there? Like, what's the point? Like, there's going to be, that's not regime change. That's just, oh, you took off his dad, now his son's going to be like, you know. And just so you know, the government, they practice Sharia law. And that's why they moved the way they do, because they run government. They practice Sharia law. Let's go.
Over the edge and not sure what's going to be there.
But many civilians in Iran are paying the price for this collapse in the relationship between the US and the Islamic Republic.
Iran state media says that over 1,000 civilians in Iran have been killed so far. That includes an explosion at a school in Manab that killed more than 160 people. Most of them were children.
The US government has listed a whole range of reasons for starting this war, like regime change in Iran.
When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take.
To destroying missiles.
We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground.
Alongside its own interests, the US has also spoken about Israeli interests, one of Iran's biggest rivals.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties.
And Israel's been vocal about its ambitions in Iran.
This is going to be a quick and decisive action. And we're going to create the conditions, first for the Iranian people to get control of their destiny.
And this war has spread regionally, with Israeli strikes on Lebanon and Iranian strikes on countries across the Gulf.
It's reached places where, frankly, the United States and Israel probably didn't anticipate that the Iranians would target. We've seen civilian areas in places like Dubai hit. We've seen luxury hotels hit. Places that perhaps, they just didn't think the Iranians would go there.
But with the death of Khamenei, there are still so many questions about what happens next inside Iran.
The Islamic Republic is not defined by Khamenei. This is not the singular leader. It doesn't start and end with him. People in Iran are, one, fearing for their lives, right? They're inside trying to dodge any type of airstrikes, but they're also getting text messages from security officials warning them to not go outside. So in times of unrest, whether it be because there's a national protest or because there's airstrikes now, the state continues to clamp down on people's lives. And it interrupts any type of opposition movement that maybe might have been brewing in that moment.
So that's how we got here. But what happens next? This regional war now involves so many civilians, so many countries, and so many interests. But what's clear is that it's changed the US and Iran's complicated relationship forever.
If you don't know how a conflict ends, it's deeply concerning. And you need to think about, when you enter a war, what your exit strategy and plan is. So you just get a sense that these strategies haven't been thought out. And so there is concern about what happens next and where this actually ends.
The relationship between the US and Iran hasn't...
Right. Let me read something. So what we saying? Iran. What we saying? Iran. The war. Guys, come on, man. Chat gang, let's keep it going. Trump. You've got the history now. You got a bit of backstory now. You've managed to hear it. What's the next steps? What's going on next? What's the next steps? Because Trump says it's not going to be a long war. It's costing $1 billion a day. It's costing $1 billion a day. It's costing $1 billion a day. TikTok, smash the like button. Let's get it out. It's costing $1 billion a day, guys. It's not over. Drone strikes are hitting Dubai. I think it's gonna. It's not gonna be over. It's only getting started. That's the truth of the matter. I don't think. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that Iran needs a change, because just from the Iranians I know and all the Iranians I know that can't go back to Iran, you never want to be in a scenario where you can't go back to your country. And I think that's what a lot of Iranians, that's where a lot of Iranians find themselves. Whoa. Well, I'm good. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I feel like some people want me to, but it's all good, baby. Iran needs back its democracy and civilization again. Yeah. Iran needs to go back to well, I'm not saying what it needs to go back to, but you know, you have women that are being deleted because they're not wearing hijab properly. I think it's time for I think it's the end of a regime for sure. And if they end up staying, they're going to be 10 times worth. Yeah, it's going to take time to build the country back up. It definitely will take time to build the country back up, but something has to change, because I don't know. I'm not necessarily a supporter of bringing people in to like change the government and regime change and outside entities. I'm not a supporter of that. But at what point, if the atrocities are happening, the whole world is being quiet and hiding, then you're there screaming at the world, the Western world, and saying, look what's happening to us, help us. And then they finally help. Because aside from that, then dictators or whoever in their country could do whatever they want and no one can do anything because you own that country. The only one that can ever pressure you to do anything is outside entities. When you have dictators and you have, these supreme leaders, and when you have these types of people, the only people that can change them are going to be outside countries, as you've seen, because they will just do the most for the longest time possible. And they will do the most to their own people. The worst things to their own people. It happens, and it's the same thing. So, bare wars between the US and Iran in this book, Future Wars. This is just part 2. They started back in 2003. Yeah, and it's just wars and wars and wars and wars and wars and wars. You know what I mean? Crazy. Just wars and wars and wars. Let me play this.
Always sounded like this.
An axis of evil.
Unprecedented, crippling sanctions on Iran.
Iran has been a very dangerous player. They're a nation of terror.
Oh.
Inshallah به توفیق الهی دشمن رو به زانو در خواهیم آورد.
The US and Iran may not have agreed on much for decades, but they used to be allies.
Iran, because of the great leadership of the Shah, is an island of stability in one of the more troubled areas of the world.
So how did the relationship between the two become so strained?
Damn.
And how does that link to what's happening in Iran today? Oil was discovered in southwestern Iran at the start of the 20th century. This redefined the role of the country on the global stage and began a complex journey with the West, and especially...
See, that's it. Oil was found and beef started. Hear it. Oil was found at the beginning of the 20th century, and then the beef, then the complex relationships. Everything was cool before the oil was found. Guys, I'm telling you something. It always comes down to the natural resources. It always comes down to the natural resources. that were given to people on foreign lands, and you know, if for example, if you look at Britain, Great Britain is this tiny island, but what does it produce? What does actually Britain produce and export? What do we produce? What's our biggest export? What do we produce? Furthermore, let me quickly Google that. Britain's biggest export market. What is, sorry. Food, drink. What? Oh, well, alcohol. Crazy. Bunch of alkies. But we don't produce anything. But because of the Commonwealth, which is another wealth for empire, because what is common about the wealth? The only thing Commonwealth is the fact that Britain has money. It basically earns from all them countries. That's the only thing common about the wealth in there. But from the empire, they went out there and they made it so powerful because of they went out to Asia, went out to Africa, went out, you know what I mean? And Australia, they went out to all these places and they conquered and they brought back, you know, they brought back so much stuff, gold, India, like this is all the things that they did. But they don't actually have any natural resources. Well, essentially, it's not exporting, probably do offshore gas and wind and the rest of it. You know what I'm talking about. But they're not like bananas. We're not getting bananas from here. We might get a couple apples and that, but bananas is not what we're not getting. Yeah, we got some strawberries and stuff. Yeah, but we're not getting oranges and pears and fruits and all. No, all that stuff is getting imported. Everything is getting imported. Everything is getting imported. Everything is getting imported. Spuds, yeah, everything is just getting imported. So we don't export anything really. And the pandemic would have taught you that, like, because we was heavily dependent on goods coming in, and we wasn't heavy producers on agriculture stuff, right? Remember that. You know, oil started it.
Initially, the United States. A British company that would later become BP set up Iran's oil industry, and business was good. But over time, there were growing calls from Iranians for more control.
The problem was there was so much wealth to be gained from the oil that was being extracted that then they could see all of that money just leaving the country. And so it's that history of feeling that this is oil on Iranian territory under their ground, and they're not getting any of the benefit from it.
One of the strongest voices was Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. He came to power promising to nationalize Iran's oil, which he did in 1951. As a result, Britain, supported by America, boycotted Iranian oil, causing exports to all but collapse over the next 2 years. Then, in 1953, American and British intelligence agencies orchestrated a coup to push him out.
So, first of all, they boycotted Iranian oil for 2 years, all right? Then they orchestrated a coup to push him out. Are you guys? History is important. So Iran found that they had oil in the beginning of the 20th century. All right, cool. So they started, producing oil, then oil rigs, and then the US and Britain they boycotted Iranian oil for 2 years, and then they staged a coup which will topple. Right, cool. All right.
So America saw Mossadegh as being someone who would develop ties between Iran and Russia. So basically, it was an opportunity that then allowed American oil companies to get a foothold in the Iranian market.
The coup cemented control of the Western-backed Shah, or King of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. For the next 26 years, with support from the US, the Shah built infrastructure, started land reforms, improved education, and gave women the vote.
These very fast-paced social changes that are happening alongside this influx of enormous amounts of oil wealth into the country. And we see very fast transformations within society.
The reforms boosted the economy, but not everyone benefited equally. and some religious leaders felt they were a threat to Islamic values. Then, the Shah increased political control over society.
In Iran, under Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, becomes much stronger, and he has American support to train up his secret police, to interrogate people and to try and stamp out any possible areas of opposition.
The Shah's feared secret police, his opulent lifestyle, and pro-Western policies sparked riots, strikes, and mass protests from across Iranian society. And all this led to the Iranian Revolution in 1979, which changed the country completely. The religious leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile and established an Islamic republic. This transformed not only Iran, but how it saw the world.
پیروزیمون وقتی است که دست این اجانب از مملکتمون کوتاه شود.
The shift from friends to enemies starts in 1979, partly just because of where the revolution ended up going under the leadership of Khomeini, whose rhetoric was anti-American.
In November 1979, a group of students who said they were angry about America's treatment of Iran stormed the US embassy in Tehran and held dozens of Americans hostage inside for more than a year.
When the hostage crisis happens, the relationship fundamentally changes.
Mad.
Iran was no longer a friend and overnight becomes an enemy.
In response, the US applied economic sanctions for the first time. They banned all trade with Iran, including oil. Before the hostage crisis ended, Iraq invaded Iran. The leader of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, felt threatened by Iran's Islamic Republic and thought the new regime was weak and could be quickly defeated. But the war lasted 8 years and more than 500,000 people died. Though officially neutral, the US secretly backed Iraq, providing financial aid, weapons, and intelligence. Towards the end of this war, on July 3rd, 1988, the US shot down an Iranian civilian plane that it says it mistook for a fighter jet and killed 290 people. Over time, in Iran, rhetoric against the US and its greatest ally in the region, Israel, strengthened. Iran has denied Israel's right to exist since the 1979 revolution.
The Islamic Republic is concerned the US poses an existential threat to Iran. Israel also poses an existential threat to Iran, and think as the only Shia Persian state in the region, nobody likes them. And if Iran does not take its fight away from its homeland, it would have to face its enemies on Iranian soil.
Since the revolution, Iran has been seeking to export its ideology and expand its influence beyond its borders by supporting a network of well-armed groups. Over time, this included Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, as well as others in Iraq and Syria.
So what are they saying? So Iran was funding all these. So they're saying Iran was funding all these terrorist organizations. Hezbollah. You hear it? Hold on. Just a side note, Israel was one of the main suppliers of military equipment to Iran during the war with Iraq. This is crazy. The same people that supplied you weapons now, you're shooting your weapons back at them. And that's what I'm trying to say, guys. Like, if you look into history, look into what's going on, you're gonna realize, don't just look at what's going on now. Well, most people they're not gonna be bothered to go and look at what's happened in the past. But if you go and look at what's happened in the past, you're gonna discover that everything has a beginning and there's a moment. Remember, they were all brethren. Remember, BP started those Anglo-Iranian oil company or whatever. BP, that's up and down the high street everywhere that you look like a British business. British Petroleum, that's what it's called, right? It wasn't British Petroleum, it was Iranian Petroleum. That do you think the average person walking down the streets thinks that like BP, which is probably one of the most common things and recognized brand, like recognized in this UK. Do you think that they know that is an Iranian, wasn't Iranian, it was built by Iranians? No way. I just found that out myself. So do you understand? No one would ever thought that they got built by Iranians.
Actively called the axis of resistance. This, along with concerns from the US that Iran could develop a nuclear weapons program, strained relations further and led to more sanctions. Iran has repeatedly said its nuclear program was only for peaceful purposes.
Iran has sanctions that the US has imposed on Iran because of its nuclear program. There are sanctions because of its regional activities, what the US calls terrorist activities in the Middle East. And there are also sanctions on the Islamic Republic because of the violations on human rights.
There were attempts at reconciliation, but a breakthrough didn't come until 2015, when after more than a decade of negotiations, Iran signed an agreement to limit its nuclear program. In exchange, the US and others stopped crippling economic sanctions, allowing Iran to once again sell its oil internationally. This fell apart during President Trump's first presidency. He took the US out of that agreement and reimposed sanctions.
At the heart of the Iran deal was a giant fiction that a murderous regime desired only a peaceful nuclear energy program.
Tensions escalated under President Trump's maximum pressure campaign. Iran's economy, already weakened by decades of sanctions and mismanagement, worsened. In 2019, the US accused Iran of attacking oil tankers and its drones in the region. Then, in 2020, Iran's top military commander, General Qasem Soleimani, was killed by a US drone strike in Iraq. President Trump said Soleimani was behind attacks on Americans in the region. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas launched an attack on Israel, which sparked more than 2 years of war in Gaza.
Jeez.
Iran denied being involved, but publicly supported the actions of Hamas. Israel responded with sustained attacks in Gaza against Hamas, as well as other Iranian allies and proxies in the region.
Whoa! No!
In June 2025, the
Wait,
UN's nuclear...
Hold on. Did you see, hold on. Did you see how, no, wait a minute. Hold on, wait. Did you see how that just dropped? Guys, did you see how that dropped? That was mad. Wait, hold on a minute. Did you say, wait, hold on. Did you just see how that, did you just see all of that? Did you see how that just dropped? What just happened here? Wait, what just happened here?
Always said that they have never looked to develop a nuclear weapon. Israel launched a series of strikes on Iran, resulting in a 12-day war between the two countries. And this culminated in direct US involvement, including airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities.
Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat.
Since the Iranian Revolution, the US and Iran were fighting each other in different arenas, diplomatic, economic, political, espionage, cyber. The only thing that had not happened was the use of military force. But he broke that taboo.
In September 2025, the UN reimposed a host of sanctions that had been lifted in 2015 because of increased Iranian nuclear activity. The economy went from bad to worse. Food price inflation increased by 70%, and then mostly due to sanctions, Iran's currency plummeted. This meant all imported products like cooking oil, wheat, and medicine became more expensive almost overnight. Shopkeepers and merchants in Tehran started protesting in response to these soaring prices at the end of December. Demonstrations grew quickly in size and spread across the country. There have been wide calls for political change, with crowds
I never saw
chanting
this on the
slogans
news.
against Supreme Leader Khamenei. Some have called for the return of the exiled son of the former Shah, Reza Pahlavi. The regime has cracked down on protesters. Thousands have been killed. US President Donald Trump has expressed support for protesters and warned the regime against violence.
Trump is supporting the
We
protesters.
don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has blamed
Hey. One thing about Trump, hear him hanging. We're gonna see how that works out for them. Yeah, no, Trump. One thing about Trump is he definitely does. He does what he says. I'm tired of politicians not doing what they say. At least when I vote you, do what you say, and then he'll do extras. But just at least do what we voted you for. The people that voted for Trump, they are very happy with what he does, because he does exactly what he said. You guys voted for Obama. You got mad because he didn't do what he said he was going to do. He didn't do it. No. Trump coming to power, and he does exactly what he needs to do for them MAGA supporters.
President Trump for the protests and deaths.
ما رئیس جمهور آمریکا رو مجرم میدانیم، هم به خاطر تلفات، هم به خاطر خسارات، هم به خاطر تهمتی که به ملت ایران زد.
Some in Iran's opposition, including the exiled son of the former Shah, have welcomed President Trump's support.
I believe that President Trump is a man of his word, and ultimately he will stand with the Iranian people, as he has said.
But there's also unease.
So you do have some Iranians who can easily see, okay, so the enemy of my enemy is then my friend. So if Trump is the enemy of Khamenei, Trump could be helpful. But that's not all Iranians, and it just becomes very complicated when you don't want to straightforwardly welcome more American intervention.
And there are wider worries about the impact of any escalation.
The regional countries are concerned about Iran's actions once Iran gets cornered. This is why you're seeing the Arab countries of the Persian Gulf lobbying against the US striking Iran, because they know that they will be caught in the crossfire of the United States and Iran.
So, guys.
Hello to you. We're in Abu.
Right. There we go. History of Iran. Beef. Trump. Bush. What's the other one, guy? Free my Iranians, man. Seriously, free the Iranians up, because I'm gonna be real with you. It's not gonna be over. It's costing $1 billion a day. It's not gonna be over. They're talking about regime change. What does regime change when all you do is you guys keep putting the same people. Okay? You guys keep putting the same people into power. Let's look at this. Right, let's do this. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this. Like, when I say enjoying this, I mean in the sense of you're getting what we're doing now. That's what we're doing. Right. We're gonna go through some tweets from Iran that managed to break through the internet. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Let's read these. It's been a week that the country is under bombs and missiles, and our biggest fear is still the Islamic Republic. Open the internet and phone access. We need to get the news of our home and family in this widespread bombardment. Shame on you for what you're doing to us. Well, another country's attacking us. I still fear our own officials more, and the person doesn't know where to put this in their heart. So these are from people that are trapped in Iran right now. They've set up checkpoints on the streets, even on the highways. It seems like they want to create traffic and congestion. They randomly stop cars and sometimes check phones to make sure you're not connected to the internet, exactly like Twitter inspectors. Crazy. So they say this is from Iran. These are tweets from civilians in Iran, and they essentially saying that they cut off the internet. You can't use the internet. This is mad. I don't know about you, but I don't want to see the day after the Islamic Republic stays. And this is all in Persian, by God. I wish the war would end so we can get back to our normal lives, where we would see crushed skulls in the middle of the street. F the mullah bastards in the okay. So she's saying nothing's changed. Like people saying go back to normal, but they've been seeing this. That's what she's saying. Fighter jets fly so close to the ground that my mom told me to tidy up my room so the pilot wouldn't see it looking ugly. Yeah, that's a bit of banter. I had no idea at all there was an oil depot even this close to our house. What the hell even is an oil depot anyway? You're about to find out. Gigi, we've got one toll man. We barely managed to buy the config with great difficulty. We came and see 4 effing idiots have told us it's propaganda. During the attack on the United States and Israel on Hyderabad Soldiers Industrial Town, a number of night shift workers from a flour and starch production factory name were deleted, and another remains missing. Truly, nothing is more terrifying and dangerous than staying with the mullah. Not a bomb, not a missile, not a war, not anything. Especially a wounded and angry mullah whose power doesn't reach anything but the people of Iran, and he takes out all these complexes and inferiority on innocent people. So these are tweets from Iranians. The number of wars I've been in is more than the number of relationships I've had. Bit of ban. You got to have a bit of ban in it. Even when they're dropping the bombs, you got to have a bit of ban. 3 months of the year 2026 have passed and we didn't even have internet for 1 month. Yeah, the cleric is great. Oh, beautiful Tehran. What a shame you don't feel for cutting off the internet on us when we're war-torn, desperate, and utterly wretched. At least don't tweet yourselves. And that just means you've kept the internet for your own use. From Agrichi to Shafayan, they don't need the internet under bombardment anymore than ordinary people do. They can't even provide security. This is a total mess. Who said war isn't bad, you fool? War is bad. The cleric is worse. The cleric after the ceasefire is worse and more dangerous than anything. The cleric after the second ceasefire is worse and more dangerous and more savage than everything. Dear diaspora, please be our voice as much as you can. Every few days with all sorts of bullshit and configs, we might manage to connect for just a few minutes. Meanwhile, a bunch of horseborn bastardos with white SIM cards have been connected this whole time and are full of ish while pretending to be our voice. So they're saying they're cutting out their voices of the people and then they just playing, they've got their state voices. If I were allowed to make a wish, it would only be this. The next rulers of Iran love Iran, not like these zombie-like figures of Islamic Republic who have the destruction of Iran on their agenda every single day. Tabriz was hit really extensively today, from Lao to Nisfa to Nasaib to Hafez and Southern Army and Baga to Shamal. All seem to have been targeted. People have neither internet, nor warnings, nor shelters, nor anything. Die, you fatherless cleric. If this war was the only way to escape from the mullahs, doesn't deliver results, what's the next plan for the Persian-speaking opposition? I'm asking seriously. I'm connected to the internet by luck. What do? We watch state TV and laugh and get a little worried. We pass the time with our previously downloaded movies, series, and books. You can burn 20 liters of gas with just 1 hour in line. In most small towns, the influx of travelers is so high that there's no bread left. For now, the rest of the stuff is still around. So those are some of the tweets from some of the people that are currently in Iran, and they're just giving accurate feelings of things that have gonna happen. It's kind of deep, man. Like I can't lie, it is. I can't lie, it is very deep. When you kind of when you kind of look at how things are, I can't lie, it's kind of deep, man. And this is what I was saying, like this is what I was saying about why we're gonna do what is that we're gonna go and do. This is why we're saying it. Very serious. This is why. Hold on. Yeah, let me share this quickly. Let's share this.
الان داره این اتفاق میفته. مصادره اموال که چیزی نیست. ننتون رو به عزاتون مینه.
Caption reads, an Iranian state television presenter has threatened protesters inside and outside the country during a live broadcast, warning that authorities would eventually pursue them one by one. Reza Molleh, a host on Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting Irib program, Sam Ekuda, told opponents of the government that once what he described as the dust of sedition settles, the authorities will come after them individually. Confiscating your assets is nothing, he said during the broadcast. We will grab you by the collar. We will make your mothers mourn you, whether you are inside the country or abroad. Molleh also urged viewers to circulate the clip, saying his message should be shared with others. The remarks, delivered with visible anger during a live broadcast, spread quickly on social media and drew widespread criticism from Iranian users. In recent days, several figures appearing on Iran state broadcaster have issued increasingly harsh warnings towards protesters and members of the Iranian diaspora. The rhetoric comes amid heightened tensions following the killing of senior Iranian officials, and as reports have emerged of authorities confiscating property belonging to some Iranians who participate in anti-government demonstrations abroad. Okay, so this is what he's saying. Those of you who have foolish ideas, this message for you, both inside and outside the country. Cut this clip and send it to anyone. Oh, he's on smoke!
غبار فتنه که خوابید به قول محسن چاووشی یقتون رو خواهیم گرفت دونه دونتون رو الان داره این اتفاق میفته مصادره اموال که چیزی نیست ننتون رو به عزاتون مینشونه که الان خیال خام دارید و فکر میکنید شلوغ شده و باید یه کاری کرد اینم برای شما چه در داخل چه در خارج ببرید بفرستید برای هر کی که دوست داره اینا
Okay. The angrier they get, the closer to the end we are. I believe that holy. No. Don't worry, man. Like, don't worry. You're covered in the blood of Jesus. You're all right. Look, guys, it's clear to see that this isn't coming to the end anytime soon. This isn't coming to anytime soon. This isn't coming to any time soon. You know, that's one thing I do know. This is not coming to any time soon. You know what I'm saying? So Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, injured in strikes which killed his father. Iran says its new supreme leader was injured during US-Israeli airstrikes following a speculation that he was hiding from public view in parts because of his wound. Look, I'll be honest. Why did you even let them know? You shouldn't even let them know. Now they're going to come and drop a bomb on him. Why did they let them know? It doesn't make any sense. You should just kept this quiet. Why do you have to announce the new supreme leader is the son of the guy he just deleted all your family and you announce it? He's not quite smart. He's not too smart. I'll be real. You should not have been announcing it. They just got rid of your dad and now you're announcing you. Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. You should have kept it D-Lo. They should. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But anyway, Iran's new supreme leader, the 56-year-old assumed the top position after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in initial strikes on Iran, but not has been seen in public since. Khamenei has been lightly wounded in the strikes, but continued to operate, an Iranian official told Reuters. The new supreme leader has long been a secretive figure with Iran and has not given any public statements since being appointed by an assembly of Iranian clerics on Sunday. Mr. Khamenei lost his father, mother, wife, and other relatives during the Israeli airstrike on 28th of February. He lost his father, his mother, and his wife and he decided to make the announcement he's the new guy. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. You just lost your dad, you lost your mom and your wife, and you decided to put your hand up and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm the new guy." You should have kept that low. Because now, what do you think they're gonna do to you? What do you think they're gonna watch you and just see? They're gonna wait to see. They're gonna wait to see what your first statement is, and if they hear anything about death to the US, that's it. They're sending that drone. They're sending that drone. They're gonna wait. They're gonna wait to see what you say, and if they hear anything about death to the USA, yeah, that's it. They're gonna send that drone. Look, let's read it. Look, speculation has been mounting about the health of the new supreme leader, the son of Iran's president Masoud, referring to reports that had been injured. In a post on Telegram, he said, "I heard news about Mr. Mojo being injured. I asked friends who were in contact. They said, thank God he's healthy. There is no problem." A state television anchor also appeared to confirm rumors that Mr. Khamenei had been hurt, describing him as a janbaz or wounded veteran of the Ramadan War, the name Iran has given the conflict. Okay, they've called it the Ramadan War. That's crazy. The Ramadan War. The Ramadan War. Because it's Ramadan, isn't it? It's actually mad because people are fought. It's actually mad. The war's on Ramadan. That's crazy.
Hitachi Construction Machinery becomes Landcross.
Go on, get your little ad in.
I just watched an IDF video about Mujtaba, which said, like father, like son. And they have said to Iran, whoever is your next leader will be a hunted man. So we shall have to see
I told you
how long Mujtaba Khamenei survives, given the fact that they have killed his father, his wife, his mother.
I just said that.
You know, which I think will make the spirit of resistance burn even stronger within him, and that is what's fueled him in the same way as his father for many, many years. You said there that he'd fought during the Iran-Iraq War. He joined one of their most celebrated battalions towards the end of the war, which is exactly where he formed these contacts between the volunteer forces who were fighting there, which evolved into the Basij militia, the paramilitary group that is used to sort of execute security all across the country, and particularly in the last 20 years, keep the people under control. Then he went and studied in a seminary for a long time, and then he's really been a key figure behind the scenes for his father, integrating the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, into the structures of the Iranian regime, into the economy, into the political scene, forming the connections between them and the militant clerics. And he is considered to be arguably even more hardline than his father was. So if you thought that Iran's clerics might see this as an opportunity to try and make a nod to the West and appoint somebody a bit more pragmatic, a bit more moderate, then that is certainly not the course that they have taken. And I think in lieu of the interview that Yalda just did with the Qatari Prime Minister, it's interesting if you consider the fact that Mujtaba fought as a teenager in the Iran-Iraq War, where the Arab states, the Gulf countries, were essentially the enemy. They'd allied themselves with Iraq. The Gulf Cooperation Council was formed at the beginning of the 80s to counter the threat of sheer ideological fervor coming from Iran. So for him, the notion of US military bases in these Arab countries is still a source of rancor. So I think that for the Arab countries too, this appointment represents a continuation of this grave threat that is coming from Iran.
Bear. So this is I big up Matt. I see you. Big up Matt. I see you. Before let me pull up one thing. What's this? Let's look at this real quick. So, let's play this.
Late last night, we issued 5 humanitarian visas to members of the Iranian women's soccer team. We've been preparing for this for some time. Australians have been moved by the plight of these brave women. They're safe here and they should feel at home here. And once it was made clear that these women wanted assistance, the Australian Federal Police moved them to a safe location where they remain. We're willing to provide assistance to other women in the team, noting that this is a very delicate situation and it is up to them. But we say to them, if you want our help, help is here.
So the Iranian women had an issue. They're about to get moved back, but in actual fact, Trump is the one that actually made Australia allow this. So let me read this. 5 members of the Iranian women's football team have been granted humanitarian visas in Australia after elimination in the Asia Cup. The government in Canberra says. Immigration Minister Tony Burke said the women were moved to a safe location by Australian police. He said other squad members have been told they're welcome to stay in the country. The women had been due to fly home, but supporters had raised fears for the safety after the team declined to sing the national anthem ahead of their match against South Korea last week. This prompted criticism in Iran, with one conservative commentator accusing the team of being wartime traitors and pushing for harsh punishment. The remainder of the team was taken to the Gold Coast airport and was expected to fly to Sydney on Tuesday evening local time. The team's coach was briefly stopped by dozens of activists who tried to persuade the other players to stay in Australia. Some protesters lay on the ground in an attempt to block the coach from moving forward. The players watched from inside the bus. Australians' humanitarian visa program grants permanent protection to refugees and people in humanitarian need. Visa holders can live, work, and study in the country. What? They got fast-tracked. Speaking early on Tuesday, Burke said the 5 players were happy for their names to be confirmed as Fatima, Pasandia, and Zara, whatever they was. Let me not say whatever, but yeah. They want to be clear, they're not political activists. They are athletes who want to be safe, he said, adding that talk had been going on several days. Given further details, Burke said in Parliament that the police officer had been given the team's hotel and made efforts to create the maximum amount of opportunities for players to seek help. The players were reportedly not able to walk around the hotel unaccompanied and were escorted to the conference room to eat meals, according to a source who spoke to SBS News. Given further details, Burke said that on Monday it became clear that the 5 of the players wanted to be able to stay in Australia. The group left their hotel the same day and were moved to a safe location by police. Shortly after they left, the BBC witnessed some of the minders running across the hotel to try and find them, but they had already gone. Burke said he met the woman at a safe location and signed off for the application for humanitarian visas, a process completed at about 1:30. They got fast-tracked. It is unclear what repercussions there might have been for the players' families as a result. Ooh. All you women have gone, but your families are still there. Remember what they said, how they're going to do? They confiscate the assets, remember? Yeah, I can't lie. I don't think it's going to be good for their families. I don't think it's going to be too good for the families, but big up their ladies, though. The Iranian players' situation had earlier come to the attention of US President Donald Trump, who had taken to the Truth Social platform to demand action, saying Australia should give asylum to the women or the US would take them if you won't. So Trump got involved. And as soon as Trump got involved, basically he said, you need to give them access or we'll take them. But if Trump has to take them, he's going to put some type of sanction on Australia. So around an hour later, Trump posted again to say he had spoken to Albanese, writing 5 had already been taken care of and the rest are on their way. Look, all it took was a tweet from Trump. An hour later, they got Australian citizenship. Crazy. Trump's post appears to also suggest some of the team feared for the safety of their families back in Iran and so felt they must go back. In any event, the Prime Minister is doing a very good job having to do with this rather delicate situation. God bless Australia, Trump said. The Trump administration put all asylum decisions on hold at the end of last year and has stopped issuing immigrant visas for citizens from dozens of countries, including Iran. He has said that the administration wants to bring an end to the abuse of the system. Last year, 2 groups of Iranians, including people whose asylum application have been unsuccessful, were deported from the US back to Iran. They can't speak freely. Iran was playing at the AFC Asian Cup tournament in Brisbane on Sunday, where they played against the Philippines. Unlike their earlier match against South Korea, where the players declined to sing the national anthem, Sunday's match saw the players sing and salute during the anthem. They had also done this in their second match against Australia. Their actions led critics to believe they had been forced to take part by government officials accompanying them during their tournament as part of their delegation. On Sunday, hundreds of members of the Australian Iranian community who had come to support the team in the stands and jeered at the anthem, which they did not recognize. Midway through the first half, many also unfurled the lion and the sun flag, which served as the official state flag before the Islamic Revolution in Iran. These had been snuck into the stadium in defiance of signs outside, which said only Iran's current official flag could be displayed. While the fans enthusiastically supported the players, there was very little interaction between them during the team match. In one notable exemption, a player receiving medical attention on the sidelines blew a kiss to the stands, receiving a huge cheer. And while the Filipino team lined up and thanked their fans at the end of the match, the Iranians left the pitch promptly. They can't speak freely because they are threatened, says Naz, who attended all 3 matches in which the team played. We are here to show them that we are fully supporting them. With concerns rising up over the players' treatment once they return home, they had been to push to support the women to seek asylum in Australia if they wish. Some may have concerns, others may not. But what we know is most of them have families back home and some of them have children back home. And even if offered the right to remain in Australia, if they feel unsafe, many of them may not accept the opportunity, said Craig Foster, former captain. He played a key part of helping Afghanistan's women's fleet in 2021. What's the most important is that the offer is made, he said. In Sunday's post-match news conference, manager said, "We are impatiently waiting a return. Personally, I would like to return to my country as soon as possible and be with my compatriots and family." So it's a weird one. So they have family. I didn't realize they had family over there. If you got family, then it's not going to really make sense you having citizenship in another country if you got children. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless your children can come over with you, then it doesn't really, you know what I mean? Hey, Spill TV, I didn't see you. I'm on another. Well, Spill. I don't know if you're still in the chat. It's because I'm on a different. I wasn't looking at this. I'm looking at something else. So if you're in the chat, I'm looking at something else, bro. When women were still seen as property, Islam always gave women our rights by divine decree. Finally, we buck up on this Instagram streets. Yeah, no, but I didn't see it because I'm on YouTube. Every day blaming Muslim. If anyone wants to see a true misogyny, look no further than the West. Because the West is misogynistic and hates women and reduces us to our sexuality. Okay. Hold on. I think I got one more. So I'm gonna read you this tweets real quickly. Gonna read you this real quick. Let's read his tweets. Australia is making a terrible humanitarian mistake by allowing the Iran national women's soccer team to be forced back to Iran, where they will most likely be killed. Don't do it, Mr. Prime Minister. Give asylum. The US will take them if you won't. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So Trump tweeted to the Australian Prime Minister and said, give them asylum. And then an hour later, they got asylum. So as much as you want to say whatever you want to say about Trump, yeah, He fully pulled in. Don't forget, he did the same thing for ASAP Rocky. I suppose it ASAP Rocky. Yeah, didn't really get ASAP released. He got bare people released. I just spoke to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese of Australia concerning the Iranian national women's soccer team. He's on it. 5 have already been taken care of, and the rest are on their way. Some, however, feel they must go back because they're worried about the safety of their families, including threats to those family members if they don't return. In any event, the Prime Minister is doing a very good job having to do with a rather delicate situation. God bless Australia, President Donald J. Trump. Okay. At least, listen, look. Listen. He started the war, though. Anyway, at least he can do it. I don't think he started the war. I think after what we watched, the war got started a long time ago. The war got started a long time ago, and it's currently here we are. So look, guys, I think we're all kind of up to date with what is going on now and why Iran is fighting against the USA and Israel. There's more context into it. Shout out to all my Iranian people. I hope I've covered it as well as I can. And we've been able to shine a little light onto your cause and what's going on. And yeah, I'm gonna follow it anyway. We'll stay onto it. But it's not just about Dubai. I think it's kind of got taken off Iran, and it's got focused on Dubai because of everyone in Dubai. But I don't think we should be focused on Dubai. We should be focusing on actually Iran, because that's where that focus on what we should be focused on everything, to be honest with you. But without understanding how this all started, it just you're gonna be saying, no, why Israel doing this? And I thought they don't support the Muslims and the Jews, and wasn't interesting when it was. It was, guys. Listen, I know how this thing goes. When you try to bring education and you try to bring whatever, you won't always get people switched on, because people like low vibrational content. I get it. LVC, big up all the LVC. They love low vibrational content. They love drama. You guys love that. That's what you guys love. You love it because it gives you something to talk. Like, that's what it is. This is your TV. This is your EastEnders. You love it. But when we try to bring you educational content or whatever, you see the numbers, you see whatever. You know what I mean? But it's important, and at least you learned something today, And to all my Iranians out there, we stand with you. We definitely stand with you. And if this is what you need, then I don't know. I'm not Iranian. When I first saw it, I was like, no, they're moving mad. Trump and Netanyahu. But for my Iranians that are telling me, listen, it was a lot worse before. We might have to go through this, but in comparison to what we've been going through, this is, what I mean? We're ready for war because we've already been in war. Do you understand? So for them, at least now, changes are happening. We'll see how much change is happening, but changes are happening, and the world is watching, and the world is listening now. So my platform is not the biggest in the world, but it definitely. I mean, after the week I've been having, I'll definitely say people definitely lock into my stuff and to what I'm doing. So yeah, we'll definitely put out some clips. I'll still stay locked into what's going on. And yeah, man. And for all you people talking about, oh, what about Africa? Guys, we'll get into Africa. Don't you worry. We'll definitely get into Africa. We're talking about the debt and some of the other stuff. We'll get into that. Don't worry, we're gonna try to get the vibrations a bit higher, man. Let's get the vibrations a bit higher, But big up everybody. Yes. Tia says, I hate LVC. I hear it. Thank you for the live. No worries, Annie. Thank you. I hope we was able to do your people proud. We've tried, to as much as information I could have and try to compress it into so people could understand it and kind of see what's going on. But I definitely stand with the Iranian people. I just didn't know what I was standing with. Now I know that we're like, yeah, let them go in. I can allow Trump and Netanyahu this one. I'll let them have this one because apparently you guys need this one. I can support this one. You know what I mean? They be doing the most other places, but this one here, I can definitely get behind because I'm not Iranian and I'm trying to listen to what the people are saying, right? Okay, guys, my name is China. I am the Mynameischyna voice. Please like the video. You're dropping comments anyway. subscribe to the channel and turn notification bells so you always know when we go live and we drop streams. Big up TikTok, everyone that's in. We should have been on 10K by now, but I haven't really been too focused on TikTok. But big up everyone that's liking. Diamond, I see you with all the likes. My man like Theory, Henri, I see you. Big up all the chat gang, everyone that locked in today. Yeah, man, and to everyone, my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone. Oh, big up Matt, I see you, Matt. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Iran, man, because, man, like, guys, you just don't realize how cushy you have it till you look at how other people have it, man. And trust me, we got it real cushy around here. I'll tell you that, man. We got it real cushy around here, man. Even the people that are in Dubai talking about, oh, I'm in a war zone. You're not in a war zone. No, not in a war zone. That's not a war zone, and that kind of disrespects people that actually live in a war zone. Dubai's not a war zone. They hit a couple drones, a couple this, that, whatever. Nah, you're nice. Dubai is not a war zone. Go look at Gaza. That's a war zone. That's a war zone. Come see Africa. Come look in Congo, certain parts. That's a war zone. Dubai is not a war zone. So don't allow any influences to make you think that Dubai is, their lives are under threat under that. Their lives are not under threat in Dubai. Obviously, if something hits you, yeah, but it's not. Nah, it's not that. Yeah? Okay, cool. I'm out. You know what I mean? We go again tomorrow. Guys, you got to keep it consistent, innit? Certain people think they don't. It's like certain people don't want me to stream. Certain people thought I wasn't going to stream. I don't know what these people are thinking. Like, honestly, I don't know. Just for anyone that be thinking that. The mission is way bigger. The mission is bigger than me, man. The mission is so much bigger than me. I'm just a humble servant. I am just a humble servant, and I've got to remember that. And when I remember that, I remember exactly why I'm here. I remember exactly why people subscribe to me. I remember exactly why people support me. And I remember exactly why I can't get tricked out of my position. Yeah? My name is Shan. I'm the man's voice, and we are out. Guys, enjoy my theme music, man. Countdown.